the Guitar in a Year, Beginner to Intermediate. I'm your instructor, Korey Hicks, and today we are on lesson number 11. We've come a long way so far. We just had our very first proficiency exam last week, and this week we're going to be taking a look at the song Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. This features Michael Bloomfield on the electric guitar. And Michael Bloomfield, he's one of my favorite guitar players. I actually have 3 biographies about his life. Actually, kind of like the American Eric Clapton in the 1960s, and he's one of the very first blues rock guitar virtuosos, someone that's been hugely influential on my life and on a lot of other players. So he was featured as the studio guitar player on this track, Like a Rolling Stone, and he played a 1964 Fender Telecaster that looks pretty similar to this one. It's one of the things that really attracted me to this guitar. This is that Squier Affinity for about 250 bucks, a great playing guitar. We're going to talk a lot about tone today. The fact that it looks exactly like Robin Ford's Tele or exactly like Michael Bloomfield's Tele really makes it really fun to play for me. So let's talk a little bit about tone today. It's something we haven't done quite yet. On the Telecaster we have 2 pickups, and this is going to be the same for your 335, your Les Paul. The Stratocaster has 3 pickups. We'll probably go more in depth on the Strat tones in a later video. This front pickup, which is the neck pickup because it's closest to the neck, is a chrome covered. And this was a different design than the bridge pickup back in the day, okay? So the bridge pickup back near the bridge was designed to play lead guitar on, and the neck pickup was designed to play rhythm on. Now, of course, you can use them for whatever you want. Early guitar players would play rhythm on that neck pickup, and then switch over to the bridge when they wanted to play some lead guitar. Now, of course, you got that in the middle, which is kind of a combination of the both. If you take a look at Michael Bloomfield playing with the Butterfield Blues Band on their very first recording, in the song Born in Chicago, we have this little phrase here. So we have is using his neck pickup to play the rhythm guitar, and then he goes into his bridge pickup for the leads on his solo. So pretty cool. So for today we're going to be using that neck pickup. And it's used by a lot of people in the studio. A lot of your favorite recordings through the years have been on a Telecaster neck pickup. Tommy Tedesco with the Wrecking Crew, who's been on just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of famous songs, is using that neck pickup a lot for rhythm. Also Steve Cropper. And of course, we just talked about Michael Bloomfield. Okay, so let's get going for today. The first chord we're going to be talking about in Like a Rolling Stone is a basic C chord. We've already talked about the C add 9, but we're going to be playing a regular C chord today. So it looks like this. Ring finger is going to be on the A string on your 3rd fret. Your middle finger is going to be on the D string on the 2nd fret. Open G string, and your first finger, your pointer finger, is going to be on the B string on the 1st fret. And then we're also going to have an open high E string. So first of all, you're going to find that this is probably a little bit more challenging to play than that C add 9 was. And the fact that that C add 9 was connected to our G chord made it a really good first choice for us. That's why we didn't start with the normal C chord. Now you may also realize that this C chord has a lot in common with the C major scale that we've been playing. In fact, it plays the C, the E, the G, and the C and the E on the top 2 strings all together to form one chord. So even though we're playing 3 notes, we're playing doubles of the C and doubles of the E. All right, so that's the very first chord in the song. Now, in the intro, it kind of bounces back and forth between the C chord and what's known as an F major 7 with C in the bass. So this is going to be the very first slash chord that we ever play. Now, a slash chord means we have one type of chord, and then we have the bass note of something else below it. So if I was going to play like a D chord, for example, and I wanted a C in the bass, I get a different sound than I would get just playing a D with a D in the bass. So in this case, we're getting a C chord, and when we go to that F major 7 with C in the bass, We're kind of retaining that C-ness of the bass, but then adding something on top. So, how do we play this F major 7 with C in the bass? Well, we're going to hold our C chord, put our pinky on the D string, that's going to give us the note F, and then our middle finger is going to go up to the G string, and that's going to give us the note A. And then we're just going to strum from the open high E to the A string, like that. So let's take a look at what this intro sounds like, and then I'm going to show you how to play it. We're just going to isolate this intro, and I'm just going to strum on each chord. So what I demonstrated there was 3 different ways of kind of learning how to play along with this. First, I'm just going to switch on the change. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Next, I'm going to put a little bit of a rhythm. Just downstrokes. And that might be the very first step for a lot of you. The actual guitar part sounds like that. And the way that that's played, kind of like when we did The Cowboy Rides Away, we played the bass note for part of the chord. So down, down in the C, down. And you're grabbing that F major 7 with C in the bass on an upstroke. So I would just isolate that switch like this. Then we're going to do an up, down, down after that. Then we're going to connect everything with a down up at the end like this. And that's going to be our intro. So for every single section of the song, we're just going to isolate that section, get good at it, and then move on to the next section. Next, we're going to talk about the verse section. The verse section is great for beginner guitar players because it just goes up the diatonic chords of the key of C. What does diatonic mean? It just means the chords that are in the key of C. So first we have a C chord, and then we're going to be going to D minor. Now, to play the D minor chord, I'm going to take my first 2 fingers, you see how they are on the B string and the D string, and I'm going to bring them up a string set. So they stay in the same orientation, it's just they go up, which is towards the floor, of course. Now, next, I'm going to put my ring finger or my pinky on the B string on the 3rd fret. Now, when I first started playing guitar, I would have played that D note with my ring finger. But for some reason, it just seems more comfortable to play with the pinky. It's almost like your hand has more reach there. And then when I started getting into Bill Levitt's modern method for guitar, he actually shows that C major to D minor switch using the pinky. So kind of verified what I was thinking, that it was better economy of motion. But you just pick which one you want to do there. Okay? So first chord C, going to a D minor like that. Next, we're going to have E minor, which we've already learned. If you remember, we did E minor 7, then I gave you 2 options for that E minor chord like this, okay? So C major, D minor, E minor, perfectly fine like that, or like that, okay? The next chord in our verse chord progression is going to be the F chord, which is famously one of the most challenging chords for a beginner, but it's not that bad. So let me show you how we do that. So we're going to have our C chord. Remember, we put our pinky down and our middle finger down for that F major 7 over C. Now all you have to do is take your pointer finger and flatten it over the top 2 strings. This is a partial bar, our very first kind of partial bar chord. So you're going to have to take a little bit of time with this, though, to be able to play that F chord like this, to develop that muscle memory. Okay, so we have our first 4 chords of the verse. And then we have our last chord of the verse. Old familiar G. Now you will notice on the chord progression on the PDF, it is going to show a G7. That is an option for us to play, but it's not what Michael Bloomfield's playing. It's probably what Bob Dylan is playing here, and it's what the harmony is actually going to show, kind of what the B3 player is playing. But for you and me, we're just going to simplify this by playing a G chord. We'll get back to that G7 a little bit later, okay? So let's take a look at this chord progression. I'm going to play the C, D minor, E minor, F, and G, and then I'm going to repeat it. First, I'm going to start off by just strumming every chord, and then we're going to get into the strumming pattern. Go a little bit more here. Downstrokes. You'll notice by the end there I was doing the strumming pattern from the beginning there. Okay, so we have a C, D minor, E minor, F, G. We have a couple of different ways to play this. We're going to be taking a look at it as just a basic strum when it changes, and then adding just downstrokes on the beats, and then going into the chord switches with the strumming pattern after that, okay? All right, so as you take some time to work on those chords this week, we're also going to start talking about the C major pentatonic scale. This is going to be a tool that you're going to use for the rest of your guitar playing life. You remember all this stuff, right? That's all C major pentatonic. So I'm going to be giving you the basic pattern for this so you can practice that this week. We're going to come back to this and we're going to improvise over the song using the C major pentatonic in a couple of weeks. So we're going to learn this as kind of a visual pattern. I want you to look down at the second dot on your guitar. Everything at the 5th fret will be played, okay? And that's always going to be your first finger. So to play this C major pentatonic, I'm going to put my first finger on the 5th fret of the low E string. And remember our 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises? We're going to keep right in that lane. First finger is going to be at the 5th fret, second finger is going to be at the 6th fret, although we won't use it. The ring finger is going to be at the 7th fret, and the pinky is going to be at the 8th. So our C major pentatonic is going to sound like this. Okay? So I'm playing first finger pinky, first finger ring, first finger ring, first finger ring, first finger pinky, first finger pinky. And so those are the frets: 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. And those are the notes A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. All right? So this week I just want you to get comfortable going up the scale and down the scale. Notice I'm using alternate picking too, so don't forget that. in different patterns. We'll talk about those later as well. Okay, now if you want to use the MP3 and kind of get some play along with this, I'll show you how that sounds. So we're going to be getting a lot of those types of sounds. In the intro of today's lesson, I was just using that scale throughout the entire neck, which is just going to give you more of a linear approach, and it's going to be more melodic. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Share this with someone that is starting to learn to play guitar. We're going to see you back here next week. We're going to take a look at the rest of the chords and the chord progressions in this song. We're going to start putting this whole thing together and make it performance ready. Again, everything is over on Patreon. You can go down to the description below. Head over to my Patreon for $5 a month. You can gain access to the MP3s, the play-alongs, the chord charts, these tabs. Everything is over there, okay? I hope you have a wonderful week, and we will see you back here for week 12. Peace.